Like alchemists who knew the secrets of transmuting base elements into precious metals, emotional transformation is a process. Emotions become the raw material that changes pain into emotional and spiritual power.
Throughout history, men and women discovered the transforming power of suffering when it was fused with their openness to the sacred. Like alchemy, they saw fear transmuted into courage. Mourning became dancing, and brokenness fell away in the healing acceptance of a new day.
For this emotional alchemy to take place, we need to accept that all the emotional currents inside us are the raw materials for our unique journey. None of them, no matter how dark, frightening, or volatile, should be discarded.
You really don't need to blame anybody for this. I started blaming out the electricians and everybody started all this kind of stuff, and there's nobody to blame, I don't think, anymore. I used to blame God. I used to blame my mom for not being able to get out. But there's nobody to blame. You really have to accept the fact that they were supposed to go at that time.
C.S. Lewis, a great man and one of my heroes, probably my greatest hero. He always spoke about the idea of the dentist. The dentist hurts you, but it's to make you better. And the sculptor, sculpting away, God the sculptor, to make you perfect, improve you, refine you, define you. I think if you don't grow through pain, it's absolutely pointless. Viktor Frankl, logotherapy, a man in a death camp who loses his family and everything. There is meaning even in suffering. There is meaning in suffering. I think it's the fundamental of Christianity. So you do grow through it. I think you grow a layer of emotion, perhaps, and understanding and empathy. So yes, it's important in that way. But if someone said, look, I can give you this without the pain, I'd say give it.
Remember, we cannot manage what we avoid or do not fully own. This process takes courage. It also takes faith. Courage and faith to travel to the center of your pain and to eventually move through it to find transformation and solidarity.
But there is that common thread of shared loss that can make grieving together with other people more manageable.
Forcing myself to express my grief to others, forcing myself to take time to reflect upon the relationship I had with that person, forcing myself to maybe bring other family members together to say this is going to produce something positive in us, not something negative.
Loss is about pain. Remind yourself that it's supposed to hurt. Learn to lean to and into your pain, not shy away from it.
But what I taught in Islamic term, that I need to control myself and I see God's blessing even in that situation. Promise to me that I will replace this thing by a better thing in this life, and next life will be your ultimate reward.
And I guess the biggest thing that I've kind of come away with is when you're running and you hit the wall and it feels like you just can't go any further, and it's very painful. But if you push through it, there's almost an elation that comes with it. You feel, wow, I could do this forever now. And I found the grieving process was similar, as far as at times you just felt like, wow, the intensity was just so painful, and thinking, I don't know if I can get through this. And after 2.5 years, and I'm not really sure where it happened that I broke through that wall, but now I can remember the good things and the happy things and the wonderful things that made her.
Finishing this marathon of grieving is about endurance, fortitude, and stamina to tolerate the pain and suffering without collapsing. This is not a journey for the faint of heart.
To run a marathon or to do an Ironman, you have to put in months and months and months of training. And that when you run that first mile, you have trouble, but my experience tells me that by the time I work up to running 7 miles, 10 miles, 20 miles, I'm going to be able to do it. And when I think about getting through this grief process, that's what I think about, is that 1 step today, 2 steps tomorrow, 3 steps next week, and at some point I'm going to get where I want to be, which is some place where it's not going to hurt so much.
The process of healing operates in direct contrast to the way our culture tells us to take charge, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, and get on with your life. But in fact, healing takes a different path. Death can slam you fast and hard without warning, or it can seek